I was in the Hindu Kush a few years ago. It's this remote area of Pakistan, the high mountains. I had this big day of ski mountaineering behind me. The kind where when you're back in the tent, your legs have stopped working properly and your lips are split and bleeding from the cold and the altitude. We had K2 on the horizon, and one of those evenings where you're just too wrecked to sleep, but too tired to do anything else. But because of the altitude, you still can't sleep. And I'm lying there just chatting with a friend, another climber, and somehow we end up on the topic of Everest. Why it pulls at people the same way it does, because it does, even now, even knowing everything about it. There's something to the name, there's something to the history, just the shape of it, the fact that it's so fucking cool. You'd have to be made of stone not to feel something when you just think about the concept of being on the highest mountain in the world. But the more we talked, the more I kept coming back to the same old thing. I don't actually want to climb it. Not the way that most people want to climb it. Because what's happened to Everest, the fixed rope from bottom to summit, the guided cues, the oxygen dependency, that goes against everything that I want from the mountains. The infrastructure gets built and rebuilt every single season so that people can get to the top, regardless of whether they are truly ready for it. It's not the mountain's fault, of course. It's still the mountain. But the way most people engage with it has stripped out the very thing that makes it worth doing. My friend said something that I've been mulling over ever since. He said, everyone gets to the top, but everyone who knows the mountain knows how they got there. And that is style. And style basically comes down to two ways of doing the same thing. The first way, fixed ropes across every single technical and dangerous section, hundreds of meters of line pegged into the rock so that anyone who comes after you has something to clip onto and haul themselves up on. Support crews, oxygen stacked to every climb, being short roped, you engineer the mountain into something more manageable, something a little less wild, and it works. People, hundreds of people, get to the top. And nobody's saying, and me especially is not saying, that they didn't earn it on some level. I don't want to take that away from them. It's an incredible achievement. But everyone who knows the mountain and everyone who knows mountaineering knows what it cost to get there. And I'm not meaning financial. In terms of what the climber actually brought. The mountain didn't test them in the same way. They just moved through a system they built around themselves to make sure that they'd make it. The second way, is something else entirely. 2 people, 3 people, maybe 4 people. No fixed lines, and they read the mountain as they go. Conditions, weather, the specific texture of the ice and snow and rock that morning. Every decision is live and fluid. And when you watch them move, there's something almost uncomfortable about how efficient it is, how elegant it is. Nothing wasted, nothing added that doesn't need to be there. Same mountain, completely different operator. And I see this pattern every single week in the businesses I work with, because there are 2 kinds of operators, and the gap between them is not what most people think it is. The first kind starts their day already behind. Not because anything's gone wrong just yet, just because the morning brings the weight of everything that did not get resolved yesterday. The message that still needs a response, the decision that got deferred, and somewhere in the first hour, the plan for the day starts bending around whatever comes in. A staff problem, a client thing, something urgent enough to deal with right now. The sales call that was meant to happen, it just moves along, just to tomorrow, and it's been tomorrow for 3 days. There's always a reason that's almost convincing. By 4 in the afternoon, they have moved constantly. They've covered ground for sure, but if you ask them what they'd actually got built today, they'd probably struggle to tell you. And these aren't people who aren't working hard. The effort is real. It's just pointed in every direction at once. The second kind runs what looks like a similar business, similar revenue, similar team, similar pressures, but something is different that you'd notice immediately if you spent a day with them. Decisions don't come back, and when something gets handled, it stays handled. They don't need to be in every room because they trust what they've built. They can sit in an uncomfortable conversation without needing to resolve it too quickly. They can let a problem be a problem for long enough to actually solve it rather than just move on. They're not calm because things are going well. They're calm because they've trained for pressure, and there's a difference. The gap between those two operators is not, as you know, information. The second person doesn't know more. It's not a smarter business model. It's not even discipline in the way that people usually mean it. It's the thing they've done that most people skip entirely, which is the training. You don't climb Everest just by grinding harder. Everyone knows this. You can't brute force an 8,000 meter peak. You become the kind of person who can climb it. You build the capacity, the skill, the ability to make good decisions when your body is telling you to stop. You build expertise. The mental performance is exactly the same, and almost nobody does the actual training. What they do instead is add ropes. They engineer accountability around themselves, hire the coach so they stay on track, book the event so there's a deadline, pay for the mastermind so there's social pressure to perform, and those things work at the first level. But they're the fixed rope version. You're getting to the summit on infrastructure built around your gaps rather than closing the gaps themselves. Style is the other thing. Style is when the internal architecture does the work the external structures used to do. When you don't need the rope because you've developed the skill to move without it. That's not a personality type. It's not something you're born with. It's a capacity you build. Progressive, deliberate, unglamorous training. Most people never do it. Not because they don't want to, but because nobody told them it was available. So here's what I'm going to leave you with. Think about the version of you that shows up on your best days. Makes the call without overthinking it. Leads the conversation without dread. Finishes the day with the sense something actually moved. That version isn't luck. It's not circumstances aligning. That's you with the training banked. The question worth sitting with, what's actually in the way of that being your standard, not your ceiling? The mountain's the same for everybody. It's always been about the operator.